My wife Martha collapsed in our Toronto kitchen on a Wednesday morning in March. One moment she was pouring coffee. The next she was on the floor, eyes wide but unseeing. The paramedics said it was a stroke. She was 62 years old, and in the span of 7 minutes, our entire world shifted. The doctors at Sunnybrook Hospital gave us the prognosis with careful, measured words. Martha had survived, but the damage was significant. Her right side was partially paralyzed, her speech slurred and halting, and her memory, well, her memory had become unreliable. Some days she knew me, recognized our home, remembered our daughter Cassidy. Other days she stared at me like I was a stranger who'd wandered into her room. I'm David Morrison. I'm 67 years old, and I spent 38 years as a mechanical engineer before retiring. I thought retirement meant travel, gardening, maybe learning to play the guitar I'd bought on impulse 5 years ago. Instead, I became a full-time caregiver to the woman I'd loved since we were both 23. The first 6 months were the hardest. Physical therapy 3 times a week, occupational therapy twice a week, speech therapy when she felt up to it. I learned to help Martha dress, to steady her when she walked, to cut her food into small pieces she could manage with her left hand. Our daughter Cassidy visited every Sunday, bringing groceries and staying for dinner. She worked as a dental hygienist in Mississauga, had 2 teenagers of her own, and I could see the strain on her face every time she looked at her mother. "Dad, you need help," Cassidy said one evening, standing in our kitchen while Martha dozed in her chair. "You can't do this alone. You're exhausted." I was exhausted. I'd lost 15 pounds. I couldn't remember the last time I'd slept more than 4 hours straight, but Martha was my wife. This was my responsibility. "I'm managing," I told Cassidy. She looked at me with her mother's eyes, that same gray-blue that had first caught my attention at a campus coffee shop in 1979. "Dad, I'm not saying put her in a home. I'm saying get some help. A home care worker, even just part-time." I thought about it for a week before agreeing. We hired a woman named Patricia through a local agency. She came 3 mornings a week, helped Martha with her exercises, kept her company while I ran errands or caught up on sleep. Patricia was 50-something, efficient and kind, and Martha seemed to like her. Things improved. I started sleeping better. The house stopped feeling like a prison. I even started working on the old Mustang I'd been restoring in the garage, something I hadn't touched since before Martha's stroke. Then Patricia came to me one Tuesday morning, 4 months after we'd hired her. Her face was troubled. "Mr. Morrison, I need to talk to you about something," she said. We were in the kitchen, Martha napping upstairs. Patricia's hands were twisting together, a gesture I'd never seen from her before. "It's about Cassidy." My chest tightened. "Is something wrong with Cassidy?" "No, not, I mean." Patricia took a breath. "I need to tell you something, but I'm worried you won't believe me. When Cassidy visits, when you're not in the room with them, she gives Martha pills. Different pills than what you have in the medication organizer." The world seemed to tilt slightly. "What are you talking about?" Patricia pulled out her phone, hands shaking slightly. "I took pictures. Last Sunday, I was here helping with dinner prep. Remember? You were in the garage. I came back inside to get the serving spoons, and I saw Cassidy putting pills in Martha's mouth. She didn't see me. I didn't know what to do, so I started watching. It's happened 3 times now. Always when you're not looking." She showed me the photos. They were taken from a distance, slightly blurry, but clear enough. Cassidy, my daughter, standing beside Martha's chair, a small bottle in her hand, pills being placed into Martha's mouth. Martha swallowing obediently, that trusting look on her face she'd developed since the stroke, like a child accepting medicine from a parent. "What kind of pills?" My voice sounded strange, distant. "I don't know. But Mr. Morrison, Martha's been getting worse. Her confusion, her memory problems. They've gotten significantly worse in the last few months, haven't they? Since Cassidy started coming more often?" I wanted to tell Patricia she was wrong, that she'd misunderstood what she'd seen, but the truth was, Martha had been deteriorating. I'd attributed it to the natural progression of stroke recovery. Some patients improved, some plateaued, some declined. Martha was declining. Her neurologist had seemed puzzled by it during our last appointment, had mentioned possibly adjusting her medications, running more tests. "There has to be an explanation," I said. Patricia's eyes were filled with sympathy. I hope so, Mr. Morrison. I really do, but I think you need to find out what those pills are. After Patricia left, I stood in my kitchen for a long time, just staring at nothing. Then I went upstairs to Martha's room. She was awake, looking out the window at the birds on the feeder I'd installed. David, she said, smiling. She knew me today. That was good. Come sit with me. I sat beside her, took her hand. Her fingers were cold, thin. When had she gotten so thin? Martha, has Cassidy been giving you any medicine? Anything besides what I give you? Martha's brow furrowed. She got confused when asked direct questions. Cassidy, she's a good girl, takes care of her mama. I know she is, sweetheart. But has she given you any pills? Pills? Martha's face cleared. Oh yes, the vitamin ones. For my brain, Cassidy says they'll help me remember better. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. What do they look like? The vitamin ones? Little white things. Taste bitter. Martha squeezed my hand. Cassidy's so good to me, David. She comes every week. Not like some children. You hear about them. They don't visit their parents at all. I couldn't have this conversation. Not with Martha, not like this. I kissed her forehead and told her I loved her, then went downstairs to think. The rational part of my brain said there had to be an innocent explanation. Cassidy was giving her mother supplements, that was all. Vitamins or minerals, or those herbal things people swore by. She meant well. She was trying to help, but a darker voice whispered other things. Patricia's photos. Martha's worsening condition. And something else. Something I'd pushed to the back of my mind. Cassidy had been having financial troubles. Her husband Greg had lost his job 8 months ago. She'd mentioned struggling with the mortgage, with the kids' expenses. I'd offered to help, but she'd refused, said they were managing. I waited until Sunday. Cassidy arrived at 3 o'clock with her usual grocery bags, kissed my cheek, went straight to her mother. I stayed in the kitchen, but I watched through the doorway. After 15 minutes, I said loudly, I'm going to the garage to work on the car. I went outside, closed the garage door loudly, then came back in through the side entrance. Quiet as I could, I crept to the living room doorway. Cassidy was kneeling beside Martha's chair. She had a small amber prescription bottle in her hand, not one of the clear orange ones from the pharmacy. This one had no label. Here you go, Mom, Cassidy was saying, her voice gentle. Take these for me. They'll help you feel better. Martha opened her mouth obediently. Cassidy placed 2 small white pills on her tongue, held up a glass of water. Swallow, Mom, good girl. I stepped into the room. What are you giving her? Cassidy spun around, the bottle slipping from her hand and bouncing on the carpet. Her face went through several expressions in rapid succession, surprise, fear, and then something that looked almost like relief. Dad, What? Are those? I picked up the bottle. There was no label, no pharmacy information, just a container with approximately 20 white pills inside. They're supplements, Cassidy said quickly, from a natural health store. They're supposed to help with cognitive function after stroke. I've been researching. What's the name of them? Dad, I threw away the packaging. But I checked with a pharmacist. They're safe. Which pharmacist? When? What's in them? Cassidy's face was crumbling. Dad, I'm trying to help. Mom's been getting worse, and her regular doctors aren't doing anything. Her regular doctors are doing everything they can. My voice was shaking. Martha, sweetheart, how do you feel after you take these pills Cassidy gives you? Martha looked between us, confused and frightened by the tension. Tired. They make me sleepy. How sleepy? For how long? I don't. David, why are you angry with Cassidy? I wasn't getting anywhere. Martha couldn't give me reliable information in her current state. I looked at my daughter. We're going to the pharmacy right now. We're going to find out exactly what these are. Dad, that's not necessary. It's completely necessary. Either you come with me, or I'm calling the police and having them analyzed as evidence. Cassidy's face went white. Evidence of what? I don't know yet. That's what we're going to find out. The pharmacy was a 10-minute drive. I left Martha with Patricia, who'd agreed to come on emergency notice. Cassidy sat in the passenger seat, silent, her hands clenched in her lap. The pharmacist on duty was a young man named Omar, who I'd dealt with before when picking up Martha's prescriptions. I handed him the bottle. Can you tell me what these are? Omar opened the bottle, shook one pill into his gloved hand. He examined it, then pulled out a reference book and his computer. After 5 minutes of searching, his face had gone serious. Mr. Morrison, can I ask where you got these? Just tell me what they are. These are diazepam tablets. 10 milligrams. Generic Valium. They're benzodiazepines, anti-anxiety medication, muscle relaxer, sedative. He looked at Cassidy, then back at me. Is someone in your family prescribed these? No. Then where did they come from? These are controlled substances. You can't buy them over the counter, and you definitely shouldn't be taking them unless prescribed by a doctor who knows your full medical history. I turned to Cassidy. She was crying now, silent tears running down her face. Your mother's been taking these? Omar asked quietly. The stroke patient? Twice a week, I said, for at least 4 months. Omar's face darkened. Mr. Morrison, diazepam is contraindicated for many stroke patients. It can worsen cognitive function, increase confusion, cause memory problems. If she's been taking 10 milligrams twice a week for 4 months, he trailed off, then said firmly, you need to take her to her doctor immediately, and you need to tell them exactly what she's been taking. In the car, Cassidy finally spoke. I didn't mean to hurt her. I couldn't look at her. I kept my eyes on the road, my hands gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles were white. Greg's pills, Cassidy continued, her voice breaking. From when he had that back injury 2 years ago, he had extras, and I thought, Mom's always so agitated, so anxious. I thought they'd calm her down, make her more comfortable. You gave your mother prescription medication that wasn't prescribed to her, medication that's making her worse. I didn't know that. I thought I was helping. Dad, you have to believe me. How did you think you were helping? I pulled into our driveway, turned off the engine, and finally looked at her. By giving her unprescribed medication behind my back? By lying about what they were? If you truly thought you were helping, why did you hide it? Cassidy had no answer for that. I took Martha to her neurologist the next morning. Dr. Helen Chow listened to everything, examined Martha, asked detailed questions. Her face remained professionally neutral, but I could see the anger in her eyes. We'll need to run blood work to check her current levels and see if there's been any additional damage, Dr. Chow said. The good news is that diazepam doesn't typically cause permanent damage, and if we stop it now, her cognitive function should improve. But Mr. Morrison, she paused. This is elder abuse. Legally, I'm obligated to report this. I understand. Do you know who was giving her these pills? I hesitated for only a moment. My daughter, Cassidy. Dr. Chow's expression didn't change. I see. Was this malicious, or was she genuinely trying to help? She says she was trying to help, that she didn't know it would hurt her mother. Intent matters in some ways, but not in others. Your wife has been chemically sedated without her informed consent by someone in a caregiving position. That's abuse, regardless of intent. She made notes in Martha's file. I have to make a report to Adult Protective Services. They'll investigate. I'm sorry. The investigation took 3 weeks. They interviewed me, Patricia, Martha's other doctors. They interviewed Cassidy. They examined Martha's medical records, the pills, everything. In the end, Cassidy wasn't charged criminally. The investigator said that because she genuinely believed she was helping, because Martha hadn't been permanently harmed, and because I'd stopped it as soon as I found out, they were treating it as a case of severe negligence rather than intentional abuse. But Cassidy was barred from providing any care to Martha. No unsupervised visits. She couldn't make any medical decisions. Her name was put in a registry of people who'd been investigated for elder abuse. Cassidy called me 2 days after the investigation closed. Dad, I'm so sorry. I never meant. I know you didn't mean to hurt her, but you did hurt her. You took away months of her recovery because you thought you knew better than her doctors. Can you ever forgive me? I didn't have an answer for that yet. Martha's cognitive function did improve, just as Dr. Chow predicted. Within 6 weeks, she was more alert, more engaged. She started remembering things better, participating more in her therapy. It was like watching someone wake up from a long sleep. I feel clearer, Martha said one morning. Like there's been fog and now it's lifting. I held her hand, grateful beyond words. You're doing great, sweetheart. Cassidy doesn't visit anymore. No. Why? How do you explain to someone with memory problems that their child accidentally poisoned them? I settled for. She made some mistakes in trying to help you. We're working through it. Martha nodded slowly. People make mistakes. Even people who love us. That's true. But some mistakes have consequences that love can't erase. It's been 8 months now. Martha continues to improve. We have a new care routine. New supports in place. Patricia still comes 3 times a week, and we've added another care worker for the evenings. I'm attending a support group for caregivers of stroke survivors. I'm learning about boundaries, about accepting help, about recognizing when someone's help might actually be harmful. Cassidy sends cards. She calls once a week to ask how Martha is doing. The conversations are awkward, strained. Her teenagers ask why they can't see Grandma anymore. I'm not sure how to answer that either. I've learned some hard lessons through this. I learned that good intentions don't override the need for proper medical care. I learned that you can love someone and still harm them. I learned that, as caregivers, we're vulnerable to people who offer help, even when that help is dangerous. I learned that trust has to be earned, even from family, especially from family. If you're taking care of someone vulnerable, a parent, a spouse, anyone who can't fully advocate for themselves, watch for warning signs. Be suspicious if someone is giving your loved one medication or supplements that you didn't approve. Ask questions. Check bottles. Talk to doctors. Trust your instincts. And understand this. If someone is truly trying to help, they won't need to hide what they're doing. Real help happens in the light, with full knowledge and consent from everyone involved. Anything else isn't help at all, no matter what it's called. Martha is napping now in her chair by the window. The afternoon sun is making patterns on the floor. She'll wake up soon, and she'll know who I am. She'll remember what we had for breakfast. She'll ask about the birds outside. These are small things, everyday things. But after watching her disappear into confusion and fog, after nearly losing her to someone's dangerous good intentions, these small things feel like miracles. I'll spend the rest of my life grateful for them. And I'll spend the rest of my life making sure no one takes them away from her again.